This is the first video in the A-level business growth series, and in the first video we'll be talking about horizontal mergers. So the definition of a horizontal merger is when two firms in the same industry and the same stage of the production process join to form one firm. So an example of this would be, say firm A wants to undergo a horizontal merger. It can either merge with firm B, who produces shoes. Firm A produces cars, by the way. It can either merge with firm B, who produces shoes, firm C, who produces car parts, and firm D, who also produces cars, the same as firm A. So kind of matching this with the definition, firm A, if it wants to undergo a horizontal merger, will merge with firm D. It can't merge with firm B because they're not in the same industry, and it can't merge with firm C because they're not in the same stage of the production process. So now we'll go on to reasons for and reasons why firms undergo horizontal mergers. So the first reason is for economies of scale. As a firm grows, it outputs more and its average cost can fall. So if you look at this average cost graph right here, the firm's output moves from Q1 to Q2. As two businesses merge together, it's outputting more in total, and average costs fall from C1 to C2. This is beneficial because if your average costs fall, you can price at a lower price. You're pricing at a lower price, kind of strategically. I think Porter mentioned, a great strategist, that cost is one thing that firms can compete on. If you can have low costs, you can have low prices, you can attract new customers. If you attract new customers, you've got a higher customer base and you've got higher overall profits. That makes shareholders very happy. Shareholders want returns, they want capital gains, they want dividends, and so they'll be satisfied. Now the second reason is for skills and resource sharing. So internal resource theory states that each firm is completely different, and so each firm has different key competencies. If firms are different and these firms merge, then the different strengths will merge. If this firm has multiple strengths, then this kind of protects against future risk because the firm is technically more diverse in its skills, and so it's more able to kind of cope with any changes in the external environment in the future. So the third benefit to the firm of integration horizontally is increased market share. If you've got two firms in the same industry merging, then these two firms transform into one firm, then there are fewer firms in the market, and that combined firm has got a higher customer base. And this means that the firm is able to charge at a premium. If you've got fewer firms in the market, there are fewer substitute products. If you have fewer substitute products, then the demand curve is more steep, and that means that a firm can charge a higher markup. It can mark up its price a greater proportion above the marginal cost, and that leads to greater profit margins. Again, this makes shareholders happy. However, consumers are not happy, and this is a great point to make in an exam for an evaluation. If prices are higher, consumers, especially the poorer consumers, lose out. This is the negative because it has welfare effects. Okay, so now we'll talk three reasons against a horizontal integration. Firstly, diseconomies of scale. Of course, a firm can get too big, and this causes average costs to rise from C1 to C2. One reason for this is because there's increased hierarchy. If you've got a bigger business, you're going to have more levels of management. That means that information takes longer to kind of get from the top to the bottom. That can lead to delays in decision making, which can increase costs and cause inefficiencies along the way. Again, obviously, if a firm gets too big and its costs are too high, then it's not going to be able to be competitive in the price segment, leading to more agile, nimble, and lower cost firms producing at Q1 to overtake. Now, a second reason why horizontal integration may not always work is because of merger policy. Obviously, the governments want to promote consumer welfare. However, a merger can be a threat to consumer welfare. As we discussed above, if prices rise, then welfare falls. And a merger can be blocked if it's deemed a threat due to unilateral effects and coordinated effects. So a unilateral effect is the probability of the merged firm raising prices post-merger. A coordinated effect looks at the industry after the merger. What's the probability of collusion? If it's a high probability of collusion, the merger will be blocked. Again, a merger is investigated if the combined firm turns over over £70 million in profit or has a 25% plus market share. Now, this kind of begs the question, if two firms think of going through a merger, there's a lot of cost allocated towards financial planning, and if that just gets rejected, then it's extremely costly, and that's a negative. So the third problem, and we'll see this in the real world application, is that often firms have problems integrating. Different firms have different visions and different cultures, and this is problematic because when these two visions and cultures can clash. Also, these two cultures and kind of brand images can affect one another. So say we've got a high value brand merging with a low value brand. Well, when consumers know that the high value brand and the low value brand have the same parent company, then the value of the high value brand may fall in the consumer's eyes. Now, real world application, the Sainsbury Asda merger, this was blocked by the competition watchdog, the CMA. So we can talk about how, it's costly for Sainsbury's and Asda to kind of think about how they were going to merge the post-merger company. But all that was scrapped when it got blocked. Secondly, AOL and Time Warner. This was a merger. It was a huge merger, $350 billion. However, it kind of collapsed 10 years later for three reasons. The culture clash. So AOL was more innovative and Time Warner was more traditional. These two cultures clashed, they couldn't work together, and so there was a lack of synergy. Additionally, this merger took place during the dot-com bubble. This led to overvaluation, and so Time Warner shareholders lost when the bubble burst. Finally, there were regulatory issues. In a merger, there's a lot of regulation going on to ensure that consumers are protected, and this can lead to management being distracted from the core business, not giving the core business enough attention. And that can lead to, strategic problems when competitors are getting ahead because you're distracted. So that will be a wrap on the horizontal mergers. And the next video, we'll be looking at how governments can control horizontal mergers.